Really, it all stems from the fact that last year, in 2016, I played 276 hours of a video game called League of Legends. That's over 11 days of playing this video game. It was way too much, and it kind of took over my life. My experience with it was that I started playing an hour a day, then it was 2 hours a day, and then 2.5 hours a day. And sooner than later, I was now playing over 2 to 3 hours of this video game every day, couple of days of the week. And it meant that I really didn't have time for any other hobbies. I didn't have time for a lot of exercise. I didn't have a lot of time for building my personality or my interests. And so I decided in 2017 that I was going to try a couple of new things. And I learned through the process of quitting League of Legends and moving on to a couple of different pursuits, a really important lesson for me about giving up digital addiction, and I wanted to share that with you. So the first step that I had in my journey of beating a digital addiction was actually just identifying that I had it in the first place. I really would play every day and I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. I had friends that would go, "Oh man, like let's watch a movie." And I would probably say, "Oh no, like maybe after this, click, 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 click. Maybe after this game, click, 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 click." And you know, my girlfriend would say, "Oh, hey, can we talk on the phone?" I'd be like, "Yeah, soon, click, 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 click. Yeah, soon, click, 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 click." And I was just obsessed. I couldn't see anything else. I realized it was bad and something that was becoming all encompassing in my life when I started to go to bed, and when I closed my eyes, I would see health bars from this computer video game that I'd been playing for 3 hours before bed. Literally, I closed my eyes and the outline of health bars would be right on the inside of my eyelids. It was just too much. I realized right then, oh shit, I really got to do something about this. So I tried to just reduce the amount that I played. I'd bring it down a little bit. I would, go and say, "Hey, I'm only going to play 1 hour a day, and then I'm going to read, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do all these other things." But invariably, moderation is not my gift, and I wasn't able to do it. I'd play for an hour, I'd stop for a little bit, and I'd read, or I'd meditate, or I'd go do a workout, and then the entire time I knew I was just thinking about this video game. It was obsessive. And so I said, okay, I gotta do something different. I gotta change it up a little bit. This gospel of moderation that my family and my friends would talk about, this like, hey, just everything's okay in little bits, wasn't working for me because this one thing was so good that my brain just obsessed about it. And so when I wasn't doing it, but I had done it recently, I would just think about it constantly. And that's where elimination came in. I figured, hey, moderation is not working for me. I got to try something different. I'm going to try cold turkey. I'm just going to cut it out completely. And I'm just going to fill the time in with other things. And just as you can imagine, at first, it was really difficult. I stopped playing, and the very next day in my journal, I wrote like, wow, just thinking about League of Legends all day. I was obsessed. It made me feel almost embarrassed. Well, it made me feel really embarrassed when I realized just how into this I was, and how when I took it away from myself, I was just thinking about it constantly. So I said, okay, I gotta stick with this. So over a few months and a couple of rough starts and falling back and relapsing into playing again, I did get to the point where I completely quit it. And I haven't played since. And I don't even think about it anymore. And that was the one thing about elimination that I realized, was that when I was playing the video game, my life was like the red line here on the board. It would peak when I was playing League of Legends, and then afterwards, after the peak, it would come down and again this kind of trough where I was just thinking about playing League of Legends. It would come back up, and then, my normal day at work or my normal day was down here on the happiness scale. And then I get to play again, and it would peak again. And I realized what was happening when I eliminated it was I was much more like this green line. I didn't have these crazy peaks, but I also didn't have the downward parts, and I felt a lot more balanced throughout the whole process. So I became probably a little bit more wavy than this, but it was definitely an overall happiness level that was a little bit higher. Now, this is something that's kind of embarrassing to talk about, and I think a lot of people don't talk about being addicted to video games because they don't, there's this image of this pimply little middle schooler playing video games, and I think that keeping it out of the public dialogue makes it really hard for people that are stuck in it to find any resources to talk about it. Now, there are some online, and I'll list those below in the comments, but overall, there's just not that much conversation going on. So anyways, once I eliminated it, I found out that I was much happier, and that was amazing to realize. Yeah, and it's just been a really great experience, because after eliminating it, you realize how much time that you have. And I've been able to replace League of Legends with rock climbing and Mandarin and YouTubing and reading and more meditation, more outdoor exercise, biking, all these things that make my life so much more exciting and actually so much happier on a baseline level. And yes, it doesn't have the crazy peaks, the excitement of video games, which sounds embarrassing just to say, and that shows you just how hard it is to talk about something like this. But the truth of the matter is, video games, for some people like myself, are just too good. I can't moderate. And I think that there must be other people out there that are like this. And I think that if we can open up a little bit of a conversation about it, it will actually help a lot of people in their professional lives and in their personal lives.